This is American Dumpster Fire.
Well, hi guys. This is American Dumpster Fire. This is Loki.
Doing that.
I do, because it's time to fucking move on this shit. And we start with a bang, man. I start cussing in your ear right off the bat. I apologize. No, I
You
don't.
should.
Go fuck yourself. All right, look, we got some problems going on in the Democratic Party. We got tons of problems in the country. There's problems overseas and Turkey.
I think
and
that our
Syria.
country is pretty much made of problems at this point.
Things are problematic. Let's start with Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi, go away. The fact of the matter is okay. Look, David Duke endorses her, which
and
is
that's
neither,
really like all you need to
it's
know.
neither here. No. It's really neither here nor there in the essence that the racists will knowingly, especially known racists like David Duke, will endorse people knowing that it's going to hurt them. You know what I'm saying?
So he's
So you're
personally
saying
attacking
he's
her.
okay? Well, here's
So
the
isn't that a
thing.
good
no,
thing?
it could go either way.
You're saying he endorses people because he knows it's a bad thing.
Yeah, because he knows that people hate
All right.
him.
Aside from that, though, there's also the fact that she
But he may
has
actually like her.
been pointed out as homophobic,
Yeah, and
which
look,
is again all you need to know.
Where does that come from?
there's some
haven't
comments she made
kept
years
up.
ago, and she may or may not have evolved since. And that's
I don't
but
know. I
I'm
heard
not
her
going to play the
stance
game.
was that gay marriage should not be legal.
I heard the same thing. And here's the problem.
Well,
is
any old politicians
she-
can be victim to that.
she may and no, and I agree. And
it's
I don't
not
think,
okay for any of them.
By the way, I don't think that
That was the
Biden.
politics of the day, though.
I don't
Don't
think
care.
I don't think that Biden should be our president either.
Agreed.
So, and it's not because of any specific homophobic.
I think he has foot and mouth disease.
Yeah, there's that. There's a bunch of problems with Biden, but I'm not comparing him to Gabbard. The fact of the matter is, Gabbard needs to step aside. Okay, she has less than 1% or whatever.
I agree. She doesn't have even enough momentum at all to make a
Well,
difference.
so-
we
Go
whittled
away.
it down to 12, so, I mean...
At best, she's going to be a spoiler. At best,
yeah.
I mean, that's...
and
like,
she's not going to be a spoiler for the people she thinks she's going to be a spoiler for.
if they all had an even
Right.
percentage, it'd be 8%. So, yeah, 1% is not very good.
Biden, I just don't think is right for this country. That's a personal thought. I just look. He's old school Democrat.
I think
He's
he's a
old school.
decent moderate who would be an okay
I used to
president.
like people like Biden.
It's a bad time, though.
and
I like Biden well enough. I liked him as
As a vice president,
Obama's
he was
vice
great.
president. Yes.
especially for meme material.
Oh, God.
Yes, meme
Yeah,
material,
no, that's true.
absolutely. But also
he is
the
not
fact that
the meme.
he's
you
not
guys-
the meme. I just think that he's
no,
not.
but I think people have that in their head that
That's
he is
true.
this tough
People
guy meme,
confuse
and
actors
he's
with
not
the role.
This person.
He's
so
not.
that's fair.
I'm sorry, he's not progressive enough for
No.
what we need right now. We need to make huge changes. This country is in.
Now,
it's a shit show, and
let
it
me-
needs a lot of change. It needs to go just veer completely the other way.
Let me backpedal a moment, though. Biden did come up with a plan to basically. I'm not quite sure what the whole thing is, but he did discuss this anti-corruption plan or whatever, for vetting. Basically, it attacks everything that Donald Trump's about in that,
That's good.
letting your stupid corrupt kids have
Oh.
positions of power.
Cronyism and
taking-
nepotism.
Yeah, there's a bunch of things that it goes after, which I like. And Biden, I give you credit there, but whoever becomes president needs to
Can
adopt
still
this.
enact that, yeah.
Yeah, you guys work with Biden on taking this on.
Has anybody else
They all need
suggested
to
they're going to
work
do that,
freaking
though?
together.
I think Warren has suggested more than a few things, but Warren has she has had so many things I can't even keep track of it all. Like so many brilliant ideas, and I'm like, and now granted, many of Warren's ideas are Bernie's ideas, or
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people got a lot of confidence to suddenly do the right thing after Bernie
Yes.
fell on
After
sword.
Bernie
did it.
paved the way for them. Yeah.
Bernie did it, and you guys picked it
Oh,
up.
what, people
Just
want
admit it.
that?
It's okay.
That's fine. This
People
is a
want action of the
movement that our
government
country.
to care
It's
about
a
them?
movement our country needs.
Yes, but just own it. Bernie came up with it.
Of course
You
he did.
guys took it.
He's basically founded this whole
And am I being
new
a-
division of our party.
I'm
yeah.
not being a Bernie bro here. The fact is, I will take Warren. I will take Kamala Harris. I will
then-
take whoever votes blue. But whoever blue wins,
It's the
take on his ideas because they were right.
Right,
it's the
absolutely.
upside to the tragedy of Trump, the Bernie or bust. I think that the Democratic Party sees what happens when they choose over what other people actually voted for.
Well, and I hope to hell they learn their lesson. They don't do some stupid corrupt shit.
Well, the
like
candidates
last
have
election.
learned. I don't know if the party has learned, but the candidates sure did.
It's nobody's turn. It's whoever the people decided's turn it is.
Right. We need to
Absolutely.
end this whole dynasty thing.
My thing
Yeah.
is that
I don't want to see another junior
I
or a
fully
third.
blame the fact that Trump ended up in office on the DNC.
I blame Wasserman, but
I blame the voting
On
public.
ignorance also.
No,
but
Bernie
on
or
the
bus
DNC.
was stupid, but we at least the
no, yeah,
the-
anybody or
the
bust is
candidates learned
stupid.
from it.
Because you end up with idiots like Trump. The fact of the matter is we have to be prepared to put a Democrat in office no matter what, because if you put a Republican in office, no matter who the Republican is, corrupt.
Oh, it's all corrupt right now.
Well, I honestly think that other than Bernie, you'd be hard-pressed to find a politician with some degree of corruption. The problem is, what degree can you live with?
Well,
And
here-
who's at least going to try
I
and
will
do
say
things
this,
for you?
though. If you ended up with a Trump in the Democratic Party, right, the Democrats themselves would turn on them and be like, no, this isn't going to happen. Get out. You know, where that will
I
never
mean,
happen
you're
in the Republican
not.
Party.
No, there is some degree of like.
I don't think that was true
sponsorship
before. I don't think
in the
necessarily.
Democratic
Swamp.
Party.
Look,
There are absolutely your corporate Democrats. They need to go.
Yeah.
The older generation of Democrats, with the exception of Bernie, I will stand by that man's side forever.
Oh,
he
no,
needs,
you can
Well,
tell
he
it
needs to
means
stay.
what he means.
Uh,
you
let's
know?
not forget our four lovely ladies, starting with AOC, back
Mhm.
Bernie. I'm just saying.
Right.
You know?
But like that's the generation of Democrats that we need in office right now.
I'm-
They're the ones who are really pushing for the changes that need to happen. And I'm
Yeah.
sorry,
Yeah.
but that is what we need. We need these changes.
Well, and then more and more I'm seeing these memes from right wingers that, oh, we're all going to die if socialism ends up instated. I'm like, first off, nobody's trained in stateful socialism. Secondly, you have no idea what socialism is, do you?
they don't have a clue.
They have no.
They don't have a
Actually,
clue.
the
They
biggest
cannot
threat right
wrap
now-
their heads around this concept that your tax dollars right now are lining people's pockets rich people's pockets. Your tax dollars are
Right.
literally
Right.
going to people who don't need money at all ever. And then you like can't wrap your head around this concept that the tax dollars you're paying to your government could actually give back to the country. Could
Right.
actually be used for things that help people.
Well, for instance, the Koch brothers spend a shit ton of money trying to stop public transportation in various cities, right? They spend an ass ton, or the Koch Industries does, right? They try to play
For
themselves.
fossil fuels.
They try to play. Well, they own everything.
Right.
I mean, they own the fuel. They own the seat belts in your car. They own tons of stuff.
Well, that goes back to what I was going to say. And when you were talking about, like, these could be the end of the world of the Democrats' socialism, but really, climate change is more likely to be the end of the world if it's not Trump. pressing the
Well,
button.
and it's them spending money fighting, against, and they're the ones who are saying climate change isn't real. They spent a ton of money to tell you that.
in order to make it outright illegal
and-
for
and
our
it turns
own
out-
scientific agencies to even use words like that.
Well, what you should be doing is you should be looking up who these people are that are saying climate change isn't a real thing, because many of them are stock photos on some website somewhere. They aren't real people. But on top of that, so they're fighting public transit, which for every dollar you put into public transit, by the way, you get about $4 back in your
Yeah.
community. It actually makes your area money.
Almost
It
everywhere
doesn't-
you invest for the good works that way. I think NASA makes $7 to $1.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane the amount of turnabout. But who loses?
Same with education.
Are big corporations, and they don't lose because we're taking from them. They lose because it's potential dollars that we will be forced to spend on their business if we don't have those.
the problem is that there are people who literally don't have that money
Yeah,
to
they don't
spend,
care about them.
and they're going to end up
Homeless
destitute.
or something.
Yes.
Yeah, they don't care.
Well, look at the
This
housing
is-
crisis. Nobody really cares.
The Koch brothers have never been so poor as to actually
Wait,
know
one
or
Koch
care
brother's
about them.
dead. Aren't we down to one? Oh, there's still two?
Well, I think they have a direct portal to hell. So
Okay.
I think
There's
they can
Okay.
talk
four,
to
in
them.
Right,
fact,
right.
but two are not
Well,
involved.
there's six.
So
in
they're just
fact, but
talking
two of
through
them
like
aren't.
the demon
No,
here.
but two of them aren't related. They just own nightclubs, and they're kind of funny.
Oh, those two. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, they just coincidentally have the same name.
right.
Yeah. They're actually like the Dushkin brothers in anybody who watches that
I don't
HBO.
know. But
Silicon
anyways,
Valley.
the old ones, the ones that are mostly pure
They're
evil
pretty
hellspawn.
funny.
There's one left, but I'm pretty sure he uses some kind of divining device to talk to his demon brethren in hell.
Okay. All right.
So
I get it. Yeah, so that's a problem right there. They probably, if he's speaking directly to Hellspawn, then there's probably some connection between like Devos and Pence as well, because they are equally
Yeah, it's
evil.
all the same
so it's like
puppet
just
evil. Yes.
kind of like a cell phone, but with like extra
Right.
what's the word I'm looking for? Signal.
Right. Yeah, they just sacrifice a few innocent children, and they have a signal.
I get it. It all
So,
makes sense now.
yeah.
It all makes sense now.
So
Mhm.
a soul is sold off, and
Right,
get, like,
right. They sacrifice the innocent,
you
and
get, like,
aka
10
the
minutes.
poor, so that they can make a 10-minute phone call.
Yep.
Gotcha. It's like the equivalent of a quarter.
yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, what are you laughing about?
Uh,
This is 100% true.
sure. Although it's not far off the mark.
I'm sure that DeVos eats babies like bonbons.
Well, I was going to say, it's like to
And she
Facebook
values them at about a quarter.
advertisers, all your information, everything that's
Actually,
gathered
they make her much
is
more
only
money.
worth $12. If you were to grind yourself up into raw materials, you're worth less than $20. I mean, overall, humanity is pretty worthless.
well, so
If you take emotion and humanity out of it.
the fact of the matter is that the fewer of us there are, the more we're worth. So,
Well, here's the other thing: is that
Supply
while we're
demand.
talking about the value of human life and the power, I would say, in numbers, maybe we bring up the protests you were talking about.
yeah. So, stop blocking the roads. Look, this isn't about me and my inconveniences, okay? I've never actually been inconvenienced by any protesters that block the roads, even though
It gets cold here.
I live in a city. No, but we've had it happen twice, okay, where we live. At both times, my GPS led me around you, okay? It's fine. Whatever. That's
What,
not
it
the
actually
point.
like gave you an alert, like you might
Yeah,
want to
no, let me know. There's traffic.
It'll tell you, if there's
That's
traffic
around.
or a backup.
I use GPS everywhere because I have a hobby. My hobby is, get this, reporting traffic, the speed traps.
Oh.
I report speed traps for fun. Okay. So, because on Google, you can report a speed trap.
Hmm.
And I always get my alerts. Hey, there's a speed trap ahead. Thanks, dude.
Okay,
And
so
I
you're
report them too. Anyways,
If you're like a 5-star user or something.
I know, but I love reporting speed traps. I get a little thrill out of it. But you guys who block the roads, you are not helping your cause. You are pissing people off. Okay, I've seen it personally. In fact, it's gotten to the point to where Republicans are using it as a reason to hate you. Okay, they're using it as a reason to discredit your movement. It doesn't even matter if your movement is absolutely 100% provably correct. The fact that you block traffic makes you a scumfuck. And
Here's the thing: is you're hurting innocent people. You're hurting people who are trying to get to work. Ultimately,
right. They had nothing to do with this.
And
yeah.
most of
Well, I mean,
us-
maybe they did. But
Most of us get paid by the hour.
I think Republicans will
Right,
find
and
any
many
reason
of us-
to be upset and pissy about you. But
And
what
the
you're
vast-
doing is you're
But
pissing
there are
off the
many of us-
Democrats too.
Well, the
There-
vast majority of us
Right.
can't afford to lose those hours at work. We need our
Right.
paychecks.
Or some companies I've worked for, there's no excuse as to why you didn't
And they'll
make
fire
it on
you?
time.
Right.
And you will get write-ups or fired for it,
Yeah.
regardless of the fact that some jackass decided to block the road because of some protest. Stop doing it. Nobody cares. In fact, most protests, and I'm not saying don't protest. By
No,
all
no,
means,
I'm not at all
please
anti-protest.
Okay.
Does it do anything? Really?
I feel like it's
yes,
getting watered
it gets
down.
media attention.
It
But
does.
But that's not the point. The thing that's really making waves is the boycott. Okay? Big,
That's the point.
organized boycotts. In fact, I've been thinking for years about making an app to help you boycott better. And there are a
God, that would
couple.
be so nice because
There
everything
are a
is
couple.
owned by a conglomerate with all
But
the subsidiaries, and you don't know
what I
who's
want,
connected to who
what I
or
want to
guilty
do
of
is
what.
be able to type in, I don't know, bread, and it tells me which bread to buy that isn't being boycotted. You know what I'm saying? Or, that
At least the reason
I-
why.
The
I might agree
reason-
or
I can
disagree.
click. Yeah, I
Right,
can click on all
right.
these buttons, and it tells me, and these are the things I care about, and it tells me I can buy this bread.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Because if it puts up everything, like, okay, everybody's protesting this because it had a rainbow
Well,
ad for
like-
Pride Month,
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'll buy that one,
Like the
you know?
jackasses boycotting the Starbucks because they didn't have Christmas cups.
Well, that's stupid.
Asses.
Right.
Or they were mad because Target's okay with two men in a single commercial with a child.
Well, did you hear Hey Chicken no longer
You're
is full of
idiots.
hate? Or
right.
claims to be.
What's wrong?
Hey Chicken claims no longer
They
be
got a new
filled with hate.
CEO who is just as bad as the old CEO.
Oh, bullshit.
Eat a dick. You know why? Because not that long ago, there was a situation where a school system or whatever was offered catering, and they're like, yeah, out of respect for our gay staff, we are not going to take your catering, so we'll go someplace else. We would rather spend money than dealing with you. And now all of a sudden they're trying to put a better image on it. go away.
Yeah,
You're still hateful.
I gotta wonder. You know, is hate part of this places? Because it is something. There's something in there that just, I don't know.
No, I can tell you, I've eaten at Chick-fil-A like once ever, and I purposely don't eat at it because of the anti.
Well, actually, I've had a few gay friends buy me Chick-fil-A.
Yes, that's the only reason I did. I boycotted them forever.
fact,
I never had them.
I don't
In
either.
fact, I know for a fact
just because of the anti-LGBT.
that one of the
Hobby Lobby's the other thing. Don't go there.
Well, I won't go.
I don't even know where one is.
Oh, they're actually in the more rural areas around here. But but Chick-fil-A, I happen to know for a fact that the one Chick-fil-A kind of near me is staffed almost completely by lesbians.
That's awesome.
So it's weird, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
they hate gays.
No, that's what I was saying though. But yeah, it was like.
But then they get every Sunday off, so.
I've had friends.
I'll have to check that one out.
And they're like, "Let's go there," and I'm like, "No, I can't." But eventually, it's like, you know,
no, I don't spend
I'm not
money
going to argue
on
with
it,
them
but-
and their stance from where they come from. I mean,
But still, fuck Chick-fil-A. And fuck Hobby Lobby.
I just don't go there. And the same thing with oh god, what was that? There's a sandwich chain with the guy who kills animals. I won't eat there either.
Oh, yeah.
kills animals. I mean, don't they
Yeah,
all
yeah,
kill
Jimmy
animals?
John's. Jimmy John's.
Yeah, he's like
Yeah.
a big game. He kills like
Oh,
I don't even get it,
Sport-
right?
You're
So the
sport
only,
hunting.
The only upside to Jimmy John's is they can deliver to you within so far, and they're supposedly really fast. They're not. I never freaked once, because they say sub so fast you'll freak.
I think they're supposed to be like 15 minutes.
And it's never been that fast. It's never, and they're not that good. Subway's better. The only problem with Subway is the insanely shit work conditions for all the people who work there,
They also don't deliver.
and they don't deliver. You know, but
I don't know, man. If I can make a sandwich at home,
rich people are always
and
shit,
I don't have
though.
to
They're
kill
all
any animals
such
for it.
filth.
So
Like, who did I just find out? Oh, Yingling. Now I can't drink Yingling
What?
because the owner of Yingling donates to Trump, and it's just like you're,
Oh, come on. It's like the only
Uh,
lager we have out here.
it's not that good. It tastes like hate.
now it does.
I can't have Pilsner. I can't do it.
I like my sweet baby Jesus.
Oh.
So
That's funny.
See, that's the thing, though.
No, but I think
the
that
more you
we
learn every product, you'll have nothing left because they're all evil in
Well,
some way.
Yeah, like my
Like,
pillow.
I have yet to find a charity that isn't involved with some
Oh,
church doing some horrific
no,
thing
go
overseas.
Local. Okay, so I have a couple of suggestions. No, I have one because I can't remember the other one now. Penzeys Spices. They are in a couple of states. I don't know, but you
Uh-huh.
can order online. And the dude is all about like community, anti-Trump. He had like a justice seasoning out this summer. And he will post things like he will put
How often do you buy seasonings, though? You buy like
dude,
12
I'm
of them and you're
addicted. I
done
buy
for
them
like-
all the time.
I
no.
mean, do they go bad?
Let's be fair.
You
Odin is very white, so he doesn't put seasonings on
No,
things.
but I mean, like,
His
it's
idea-
been around for 2 years.
His
when there
idea of
was the
seasonings
whole-
pepper.
There was the whole like border thing that came up and everything, and he did all these like different like blends of seasonings from around the world to show you like you need these other countries. These things are what give our lives flavor. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so it was amazing, and
I
I
actually
absolutely
heard a
love
cool
him,
thing
and
about this on NPR.
I will brag about Penzeys all the damn time. I buy from them all the time.
They were going around the world finding weird spices no one's ever heard of and trying to like
I'd
do
like
exactly
that.
that, make you
I like-
taste the world.
I like all these flavors and stuff. In fact, I'm very strange about my tastes, and I end up when I was younger, I created things that like because you're like, oh, that doesn't go together, like sweet and spicy in one thing, and then I get older and I realize that there are parts of the world that specifically make things like that.
Sweet and
you know?
spicy.
Well,
Yeah.
you like the cultural palate.
So yeah, I like weird like mixes of flavors and stuff, and so it was good to know that. Like now that I'm older, I'm like, yeah, you can have that. That's a thing, you know.
Yeah. So for anybody who's looking to purchase from a good business, I suggest you sign up for their newsletter, and he puts things on special all the time.
Well, that's cool. I mean, to your phone, one company.
I've been thinking about starting a charity for a while or something, but it's a lot of work. It is.
It is.
'cause-
Well, it's not a charity.
so-
I mean, it's a business. It's just one that you feel good about giving your business to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but it's like I've done a lot of work for charities and stuff like that. In that, like I've done MC work and
Okay.
and DJ work and stuff like that. I've set up slideshows and shit. And I'm really good at the digital market angle of this stuff. But I've done a lot of work with several different charities, only to find out that many of them aren't that good.
That's what I'm saying.
And which is disappointing that you put that much energy into it and then find out they're not good people. But then I've had the behind the scenes look at it and how much work goes into it, and it's just an insane amount of work to get very little good done. Or a lot of
Right,
it is
you
stroking
lose so
each
much on the
other's
dollar,
egos.
or you're paying the
and
CEO a
not-
ridiculous amount.
Yeah, well, and that's what I'm
or
saying. A lot of it is stroking each other's egos and not
advancing
actually
some
giving
religious
that much to
agenda.
anybody. And it's like all this work we did, and we gave $50 to help somebody. It's just like you realize if instead of stroking each other off this whole fucking night, we would have just given all this money straight to them, we'd have done way more good.
Or you donate all this food, clothes, whatever,
Right,
and they end
right.
up throwing it out. And it's like
It's such wasteful bullshit. Yeah, it's sad. So
Yeah, so but I mean back to the original I thought was, maybe as opposed to, organizing protests that block the street, organize your boycotts so with it, because truly you don't have to boycott everything all the time necessarily, but organize your boycotts where numbers talk. This month we're boycotting this.
Well,
You could make do for a month without
so
your whatever, right?
you reminded me of a thing I heard from an economist. This economist was like genius in my eyes. I don't know. So he was talking about the oil industry, right? So they're like, there was a point where there were 3 different companies with leaks at the same time. Okay,
Yikes.
and they were leaking like an ass ton of oil every month.
and we focus
And
on
they're
BP.
Well, we always focused on the one we perceive as the worst, which really ends up being the one with the most oil on the surface of the water.
Right.
Not necessarily the biggest leak, right? The one you can see biggest from a helicopter, thanks to the news companies, right? But the fact is, many of these guys are leaking underwater, and you don't see it.
And the thing is
So,
that they're either using
let me
chemicals
finish
to break
this,
down
though.
the oil,
Yeah, it's not better.
and they're making little balls that wash on shore, so you don't see it between
So
there and there.
he's like, what do you do? And then we also had the problem with everybody raising their prices ridiculously for no good reason. And he's like, so what do we do? Well, what we do is if we could get Americans to, which is near impossible,
Uh-huh.
herding cats really, is we choose one of these oil companies a month.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
And we all only shop at that oil company, and the other ones we don't shop at. And we put the pressure on multiple oil companies at one time while, giving one oil company, yeah, they're getting our business even though they're not doing good,
Right.
but the other ones aren't.
Right.
And once they felt the pain long enough and they start dropping their prices and everything like that, we get them down low enough to where it looks like they're really hurting, and we can switch to one of them and hurt the other ones.
Right.
Well, here's the problem. Every time that there's a little flare-up in the world, or there's some sort of like shipping issue, or some small thing happens, globally prices go up, even though it
Oh,
barely
and-
costs them half a cent.
You don't
to
even
us, it'd be 30 cents.
Right, you're not. It's not like you're eating a. We're all eating part of it to build up. They're making a huge profit off this tiny little crisis.
And what you're talking about, lowering prices, they're going to be against that when you're also asking them to improve, their safety, to not spill oil.
but they're
and
making enough
poison the
money to
world.
do so. That's the
Right,
thing.
right. But now
Well,
you're
the
asking them to
bottom
do two
line
things
is-
at the same time. They're like, we can't lower prices and make improvements.
You absolutely can.
Of course they can. They got way too much money.
Or we can get off of oil altogether because
That's
it's
the
not
thing,
necessary
is that
anymore.
that's why we need to squeeze the oil industry, is because that's not where we should be focusing our money.
Right.
We need to be moving to solar and electric and wind and clean energy.
Oh, even the oil and coal companies are starting to invest in those things because they know that the time's coming.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's right. They can't stop
Um,
this forever.
Right. So, I mean, there are directions that these things need to take, and the oil industry absolutely should be feeling a squeeze. My only thing is that if we did it that way, as soon as people saw prices drop at the neglected oil company or, those gas stations,
Yeah, they're
they'd
going
be-
to jump ship.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why they need a constant reminder. That's why we need some kind of boycotting app or whatever
But
to keep
boycotting
you on
certain
it.
brands, like
Yeah.
even if it's for a couple
Well,
months
most
at
of
a
us have
time.
no idea what oil companies behind each brand. You have no idea
No.
who's
Well, that's what I'm
behind
saying.
Speedway or
They're companies owned
There
by
was-
companies owned by companies
Right.
owned by
Right, right.
companies.
There was a
and they're not
couple
even
of-
Shell.
there-
These are huge companies that you think are separate
Right.
companies.
Right.
Well,
There was
first
a
off-
couple of companies, brands that were the Koch brothers companies that I didn't even realize I was buying.
yeah,
I don't
or
buy
Duke
those
Energy,
anymore.
which is one of the worst.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you have to. I think that's the thing. You need people who know who is behind all these things
Right.
and who know
I
who
think
the major
you're not going to be
violators
left
are.
with many things.
What's that?
You're not going to be left
That
with
might
many
be true.
products.
Yeah, that might be very true. But that's why, like I said, it
But
takes
that's why we're
an
saying-
intelligent organizer.
Yeah.
This isn't something
I
that
like
can
that
be
targeted
automatically
attack.
done.
I like that.
This is something that you need somebody who knows what they're talking about, knows what they're doing, an economist, if you will, to get behind it and direct
It's an interesting notion.
You know, somebody who knows what they're doing, because this isn't something.
Or just somebody with
I can do,
enough of a voice that
Yeah.
people will listen and get behind them.
I'm some opinionated writer. I'm not like
We don't have a big enough
Right.
following to be like, okay, so this month we're boycotting, Angel Soft or whatever it is.
right.
For example, I
Yeah,
don't
we're
know anything
not.
bad about
We have
them, but
nothing. I don't know anything specific against Angel Soft.
I actually think it
It is a
is one of the
paper
Cook
product,
brands, but I'm not
Oh, it's
positive.
possible. Yeah, I know
I
they
think
own
so.
toilet paper.
I
But,
mean, I'm sure that could well be tied to like some wood industry deforestation or who knows.
yeah, it's something evil. I'm sure it's something evil.
That's the problem. Any product you trace
It's probably
is
made from the
gonna
hopes
use-
and dreams of some young child in the middle in a third world
And
country.
if not, it's wrapped in plastic, which also is also bad.
So,
Well, that's kind of hard to avoid. I mean,
there's plenty of things actually you can change that.
we
for
can recycle more,
cellulose.
sure, but I mean,
You can use
we can't get
different
away from
materials.
plastics completely.
Well, there are
No, but we need to switch to hemp plastic.
You can make a cellulose plastic.
That
breaks down.
Right. A biodegradable plastic would be nice.
So I mean,
We need more hemp products across the board. I've been saying that forever.
sure, yeah. Well, I mean, or yeah. I mean, what's keeping us from shipping these things in paper sacks or something like that, or I mean, now that we're
Oh, it's profit. The fact that you use oil to make plastic, that's why it's so huge.
but, I mean, with Amazon and stuff like that, you don't even need marketed materials as the externals. It's like if I'm going to order my toilet paper from Amazon, it doesn't need to say
Yeah, it's going to
Angel
come back in a
Soft on the
6-foot
outside.
refrigerator
They can
box
come in
filled
some
with
kind of-
peanuts.
It can come in some kind of like paper wrapping with no labels or ink on it. There's no good reason for it to be.
I mean, if you've ordered from Amazon, the box is like 5 times the size of the product.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. Yeah. I can't wait till it's.
I don't know why.
I've seen the drone concepts, which seem to.
It's
to
not
make
like
it a little
sensitive
better, but-
electronics. It's toilet paper. It doesn't need this much
Right?
packaging.
Yeah. You're not gonna break it, guys. You're not gonna break my toilet paper. Calm down.
Oh, the poor helicopter. How is that going to work? The
So,
little drone?
all right. So what's going on with the impeachment? Are we any closer to getting rid of this fucker?
It sure seems like that.
Really?
Does
Does
it?
it?
Well, you got people resigning or distancing themselves.
Rats from
all
a
over the
sinking
place.
ship.
They're just backing away from him.
Well, even
Like, what's
Pence
his
is
face
trying
with
to make himself look
Trump?
useful. Trump has been, or Pence has been absolutely useless this whole time. In fact, at best, he looks like some kind of creepy porcelain doll that they set in the corner of the room every time.
What?
Have you not noticed
He's
that?
not wrong.
And then all of a sudden, he tried to handle the thing with Syria, as we've brokered a ceasefire, and then immediately they're shooting at each other again. It didn't even take a full day, I think.
I think that on a scale of like 1 to 10, the man's effectiveness in like any field is pretty much,
0.
maybe 1, because he did manage to run Indiana into the ground. So I mean, he has to have some.
Yeah, it's less than 1. That's the thing. It's like he's in.
No, he did it on purpose.
Oh, okay. Yeah, was
He
he trying to make money for the Koch brothers?
No,
or?
he shut down Planned Parenthood. He had an HIV
Oh,
outbreak.
It's
He,
one of his psychopathic religious things.
Yeah, like that's my thing is that while this whole impeachment thing looks like it's a good thing, if we end up with Pence in office, like that's not a good thing. That
I'll
man
still
is
take it.
evil.
He won't get
No.
reelected. Trump will.
Trump
Trump has personality. He does not.
I don't know. So I've witnessed a few dozen things that Pence has been involved in. All right, and all but like 1 or 2, he was sleeping. So I'm hoping that pretty much the rest of his presidency is him sleeping during things.
I don't.
I mean,
just
the
know
only
that
thing he seemed to
he's not a
tenet
good
for
person.
was trying to make it seem like people in cages were happy with their cages.
Oh, my God. I saw that video.
No, they all said they were being treated well.
Well, there's a
No,
guy
they
literally
didn't.
off screen.
It's
Do you
like
speak
Like-
Spanish? I heard him.
No,
That's-
he's
gut
speaking English.
wrenching.
He was speaking English.
They were chanting no showers at him. They were
Right,
crammed
right.
into cages where they couldn't even like sit.
Yeah,
And
like
he's
half of them
just-
are laying down and half of them are standing. 'cause
This-
they
this-
got
Well, what's
nowhere to
funny,
go.
though, is-
Supposed man of God is just standing there staring at them
Oh, yeah,
impassively.
no. He's all full of shit.
Oh.
Like,
And I know that like, okay, they're not being showered. They're all being kept together. And those tinfoil blankets, actually, they radiate infrared heat back at you. So I guess they could be kind of warm. It doesn't seem like it'd be very comfortable. So it's probably more hygienic. But you're keeping people long terms wrapped in tinfoil. I mean,
Right.
they're not microwave
they're
dinners.
not potatoes. However,
this
Trump,
is something you
ironically-
give to someone outside of their house being burned down, comfort them. It's not something you keep them in for weeks.
Ironically,
it's weird.
Pence is a potato.
It's just.
A shiny porcelain doll-looking potato.
And I
Listen,
mean,
this man, he's first of all trying to turn our country into something where
It's an
people
internment camp.
can discriminate and not serve and not treat medically people who don't fit their religious acceptance
They're
or
creating
whatever.
a dystopia.
He's like that right there, that this man thinks that you should be able to go to a doctor and have them turn you down for necessary medical services because they don't agree with the fact that you're gay. Fuck off.
All right.
That guy is dangerous. He's
Well, but
insanely dangerous.
Here's my question. If you're allowed to do that for gay people, am I allowed to do that for anybody? Why is it just gay people?
Ultimately, yes.
Can't I do that to not serve Republicans? Can't I just say, I'm not serving Republicans. Fuck you. Get out. You're wearing a red hat? Fuck off. Get out. Like, what's
I mean, it's religious
Theoretically, but
freedom.
I don't think you win it. Yeah.
I don't serve your kind here. Like,
It has. It's on a religious basis that he
it's a
allows you to
religious
do this.
thing. I mean, personally, I think you can't be a good person and a Trump supporter. So you can't be a person of God and support Trump.
But
Period.
if I could get back to this whole people in cages thing, I mean, there was a time where we interned Japanese people.
Yep.
We were at least at war with that country. Briefly. It was a black mark on our history that we don't like to look at. It happened. Are we at war with Mexico? I mean, what the hell's
Oh
going on?
no, we're racist.
It's
We are a country of racist assholes.
Let's be clear. Republicans are racist, not all of us.
Well, I'm not racist. I'm
It's just-
Hispanic, but I am.
I just don't even know
saying
how
that
to
as
justify that. Is
as
my
a
point.
whole. We justify it because this country is racist. Am I wrong? Tell me I'm wrong. Somebody
I can't-
please tell me I'm
It's
wrong.
not possible. The red hat is the new clan hood. And simultaneously dunce cap.
Those tan slacks and polo shirts, tiki
Chad.
torches. Yes,
Chad.
the Chad outfit.
The army of
uniform.
Chads.
The Chad uniform.
Incel Chads backing Trump. You all can't get laid motherfuckers. Like, just go back to your mom's basement and stop voting.
Anyway. Yeah, no, I wish I had.
Is that really all we have? We're going to end on the army of Chads?
No. I was trying to go back to the whole, like, what reason do we have for putting these people in cages? But literally, like, it's racism.
Can we
There's-
put
there's
Chads
no,
in cages?
Please, somebody give me another reason. These dangerous families who are rushing their small children out
Right,
of
right.
their country,
That
trying to
dangerous
protect them.
infant that just wants
Yes,
to be fed and loved.
the little kid in a diaper that we literally tear gassed.
And the people arguing
Clearly
this,
a danger.
cuddling with their AK-47s and AR-15s.
Right.
Thinking about
Harmless,
the day they get to
racist
kill a bunch of
Americans.
liberals.
Well, I did want to talk about other than Biden's kid and that whole, like, is it pay to play and all that, uncomfortableness.
The nepotism issue? Yeah, stop letting your kids write on your name.
Well, there was an accusation
job.
against one of the Democratic candidates by Hillary Clinton.
we talked about that, didn't
Did we?
we? Tulsi, go home. We
Well,
talked
we
about
talked
Oh, yeah,
about
we
Tulsi,
opened
but
with
I
that.
don't know that
I
we
just-
should we mention that she was accused of that? I don't know.
Yes, she's being accused of being a Russian asset. I don't think that's true. I think she's just bad for the country. She's bad. She's not fit to be president. I think that it's possible that Russia is targeting her as
That's what I was asking.
but not necessarily that Tulsi's involved. I think that she's a bad idea no matter what, whether that's true or not.
So now they're in the position of, we know Russia is screwing with our system. So
Putin said, yes, I'm going to interfere in your next
Right.
election, and there's nothing you
So
can do
now
about
that
it.
we're onto the game and we know that Russia's screwing with things, as soon as Russia latches onto somebody, we have to assume that
I
they're
think
corrupt.
it's a declaration of
Is-
war,
is that,
personally.
is that where we're at now?
Was this a question? Didn't he already interfere with the last election? Isn't this
right,
why
right,
we
but,
have Trump
but,
as
but we
president?
had to demonstrate that. Now we're all aware of it. Now, anytime
I
they
feel like we
express
were
interest,
aware
we
of
gotta
it and
question
no
that
one
candidate.
cared.
So now that we're
I
left
don't
in a
think it
position
took him
where they're-
expressing interest in Gabbard to question the candidate. Gabbard is not right for the country.
Okay, but
It's
at
a-
any
it's-
point,
basically
they
it's
could
irrelevant.
latch onto another candidate
He
and muddy the waters.
Absolutely
They
could, yes. And that's why we
However-
need to attack his interference in our elections no matter what.
Right, and it'll matter on the Democratic side, but on the Republican side, we had all of those people showing up at Trump rallies with their shirts that said, "I'd rather be Russian than
Right.
Democrat."
I
So, I mean, really, as far as the Democrat side, yeah, I feel like if Russia interferes, that candidate is going to be pointed out. on the Republican side, they'll welcome it.
Right, unless, of course, the Russians got a Democrat candidate elected like they did Trump, then all of a sudden it's going to be a problem.
Oh, then it'll be a problem, yeah.
Well, that's the thing. My point is that we can't do any action. We can't.
Yeah, you can.
We can't bet this while he's in office.
Internet cable that goes underneath the ocean and everything, and goes between Europe and here. Shut it off.
I think it's connected to other countries.
I don't care. Shut it off.
So okay, then we'll really live in a bubble of our own.
Well, I mean, we won't have Russia getting involved, which will actually solve a lot of our problems.
I think that would
maybe we shut it off for the election.
I mean,
there you go. The next year, year and a half.
I don't know about year. I'm saying for the month of the election.
That's rather extreme.
So I know there's another way. It's satellite; they can still get in, but
That's true.
It's just yeah.
I mean, maybe we could actually start watching for it.
My point is,
and try
I don't know
to
if we could
stop
trust
it,
Right.
because right
anything
now I feel like we're pretty welcoming of the whole situation.
until we do something about
I think
it.
we should build up our black ops again and start hunting trolls.
Maybe instead of funneling a shit ton of money to the military and starting wars that we don't need to be in, we could start putting money into cybersecurity on our
that's
country.
what the next. But we're at. That's what I keep saying. Look, we're at war right now.
I know this.
It
is
just doesn't
still
look like a normal war
right.
because it's happening online and they're targeting your grandma because
It's
she's
still
a
like
racist
Department
idiot.
of Defense type shit, but they need
Yeah,
to
yeah,
be.
I agree. No,
They need to be taking care of it on a cyber front.
yeah, we need nerds. We need an army of nerds to stop this
Ooh,
shit.
Good point.
Well, I was watching Bill Maher the other day,
Uh-oh.
and they were talking about how easily the public is swayed, and that's what Russia's taking advantage
Because
of.
they're stupid.
It's media, though. It's not just Facebook.
Okay,
it's the news.
but
it's
also
everybody.
you
We're-
watch
we-
the news, you see something that's ridiculous, and you're like, okay, I got to look this up and see if it's real. But people who are
Well, I mean, if I
happy
didn't
to
do a
be-
show, would I?
happy to be lied to, that's
Oh
a
my
whole
God.
different story.
You
It
should
is
look
an
at-
education system problem in
So-
this country.
Every so often I get a thought in my head and I go look at what are Republicans looking at. They're looking at news sources that aren't even close to anything I've ever heard of as a news source, where it's some guy's name something.com, and then you go there
Right.
and you don't know who this is. It's just some guy on the internet ranting on a blog, and they're taking this as news, and it's crazy. These aren't vetted sources. They're not, it's just like, oh, well, he's, not compromised. How the fuck do you know? You don't even know who this guy is.
Well, that's the problem with Facebook, YouTube, Google, all them. And it's not malicious. It's actually serving the customer. But there's an algorithm based on what you search will return the likelihood of what you next search. So if you look up something completely unrelated, they'll think, well, maybe it's connected to the last thing he was looking up. And you start getting inside a bubble because they're trying to serve your interest. And the next thing you know, you start thinking this is the reality.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is why we have to fix our
'Cause that's all you
education
get as
system.
results.
And this is why I back Warren right now. Right now, I said. But I think Warren is the best candidate for repairing the education system, and we definitely need to fix the education system. One of the first things we need to be teaching our kids is a scientific method,
Right.
critical thinking, and how to vet information.
Now, here's the thing, though. I keep hearing this. Star Talk talks about this. A lot of shows talk about it. And it's the whole, we need to teach a scientific method. Maybe my school is better than some, but I don't think so. I went to a public school. I learned the scientific method. I never forgot it.
They gloss over it.
I never forgot it, though. Why is it everybody else seems to struggle with this shit? It's pretty damn basic.
Well, some
It's logic.
parents actually unteach it
Oh, for
because
F's sake.
religion is more important, and if you question things too much, you become unreligious.
But they're like, well, they don't understand how we get to this logical place and that science is ever evolving because we constantly question ourselves and go, was that data point true? That we constantly reevaluate it. It's not that we were ever wrong. We're ever increasingly true. Yada, yada, yada. Okay, sure. That's true. And people are like, well, I can't understand that because I don't understand the scientific method. You could look it up anywhere.
It's so easy.
Google,
It's just a few
Wikipedia.
steps.
Yes, exactly. It's just test, observation.
Right.
It's so simple.
But churches are actually selling it as
No, I'm blaming the
anti-religious propaganda.
I don't care. I'm blaming the public. If you don't understand the scientific method, you are officially stupid, and I said so.
I think that's a good note to end on. What do you guys think?
Sure.
It's so damn basic.
See you next week.